Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ross Riggs, and I have written a letter to the NFL CEO and Commissioner, Mr. Roger Goodell, as well as to Mr. David Baker, who is president of the National Pro Football Hall of Fame here in Canton, Ohio. I don't know of any other way to get the information out to you other than to share with you the letter that I've written. And I hope you'll bear with me as I read this letter to you just as I have written it. And I trust that you will find it uh, inspiring enough that you will want to follow up with a letter perhaps of your own. Bear with me as I read. Dear Mr. Goodell and Mr. Baker, I recently received a very well written letter, which was addressed to you, Mr. Goodell, expressing not only the writer's complete disgust for the NFL planning to play a black national anthem before preseason and probably other games, but urging others to copy it or write one of their own. The letter, as I said, was well written and went into a long litany of the ridiculous examples of the league blocking everything from cancer awareness to honoring fallen police officers. The list was extensive and extremely disturbing. In my 6+ decades of life, over 4 of those decades were dedicated to public service: police, fire, EMS, military, all done fully understanding the risks and taking many of the blows that come with such work. Not for the pay or the glory, for there isn't any, the ego boost, or anything else. It was because of a sense of pride in my nation, a desire to serve, a tradition of honor passed down from my World War II veteran father who swam in the English Channel, not by choice, but until a boat could pull he and his remaining crew from the area of their sunken vessel on D-Day. There weren't a lot of choices. I am permanently disabled because of the injuries sustained in my police work, and I ask nothing for that. God has blessed me with the loving support I need in my family and in America's great medical care system. This letter isn't about me, but it's about millions of Americans just like me. They come from all backgrounds, creeds, cultures, political persuasions, ethnicities, religions, and yes, even races. Their backgrounds are as diverse as their names, which reflect generations of immigrants who came to this country seeking a free, brave new world. Yes, some came on slave ships. Those who lived through those years yearned for freedom, and many were passionate about becoming full-fledged voting equal Americans. I didn't put any of those slaves on those ships, and no single person alive today in this nation has been a slave because of the laws of this nation. Those years are long gone, and as hard as they were, they are part of our history. The Confederate States of America was formed in large part to keep slavery alive because it was their economy. Without it, there would be ruin until, thank God, the Industrial Revolution found remedies for such evils. Yes, it was wrong, but it is part of our history. Throwing down statues and deleting information from history annals does a disservice to that history, to those who need to remember it so as not to repeat it. However, using those times to bring dissension and division among Americans today only serves to strengthen the resolve of our nation's enemies, foreign and domestic. After my forced retirement from police service, I spent over 15 years in some of the hardest nations on the planet. Almost all were former communist bloc countries. The dark shadow of communism and the very present evil of organized crime rule the lives of most of those people, living in squalor and scratching out a living in any way they can, often as drug mules or prostituting themselves or their children. I have seen it firsthand with children as young as 6 or 7. There are no police to turn to. There are no courts who stand on behalf of those who are abused, beaten, or killed. Every person I met in those countries longed to someday visit our United States, and a few even dared to dream of one day becoming an American. It was their greatest dream. They did not long to become a fill-in-the-blank hyphen American, but American. The idea that there can be more than one national anthem for the United States of America is completely antithetical to everything for which America stands. Thousands upon thousands of American soldiers, sailors, airmen, police officers, firefighters, citizen patriots did not die willingly to preserve a divided nation based on race. It is ludicrous, and the NFL becoming part of the divisive culture of the Black Lives Matter movement and others who care only for themselves and not for the greater good, even for the people they claim to represent, is completely intolerable. Billions of dollars pour into the coffers of the NFL, the owners, the franchises, and the millions of people who make a living from licensing products and promotional fan memorabilia, which includes the great expansion being completed by the Hall of Fame in Canton, about 5 miles from where I live. In taking the stand the NFL has chosen to take over and over again against the mainstream, against the everyday American who is the one pouring their hard-earned dollars into those coffers, you have made what I believe to be a fatal miscalculation. You, I mean that in the broadest sense, you, the NFL, the owners, the players, all those who make their fortunes from the billfolds of just plain old homegrown Americans like me, actually believe that we need you. Guess what? We don't. When the Hall of Fame Village is a dusty lot which was never finished, is next to a stadium that will never again be full, and players who were making millions for prostituting their God-given talents are suddenly looking for jobs alongside the rest of us everyday Americans, someone like you may remember a letter you got from no one whose opinions make a Twitter highlight or whose photo goes viral on the internet, and say to yourself, he was right. The first time the NFL plays any song they promote as a national anthem for some segregated part of this country will be the last time I attend, watch, or listen to a game. It will also be the last time I purchase anything by any sponsor of those games. I'll keep and circulate a list of every sponsor, every commercial that airs under the banner of a national anthem other than the one which belongs to the United States of America. And Mr. CEO and Commissioner, I am not alone. I don't hold any expectation that you will ever receive this letter. Some minion far down from the 15th floor of your Park Avenue office will shred it before it sees the light of day. I will, however, hand carry a copy to Mr. Baker, and I believe he is a man of values and honesty who will take the time to read it. I am so deeply disappointed in the NFL. Not surprised, but disappointed. Most sincerely, Ross Riggs. Thanks for taking a few minutes to listen to that. I hope it stirred something in you, and I hope you'll take the action that should come with such a letter. God bless.